Royal insiders exposed the untold scandals behind Princess Diana's divorce. Princess Diana's divorce from King Charles wasn't just a high-profile breakup. It was a chaotic storm of hidden agendas, betrayals, and secrets the royal family desperately wanted to keep out of the public eye. Forget the official statements and the media spin. The reality was much darker and far more complicated. We're talking about secret affairs, heartbreaking manipulation, and the shocking tactics used to control Princess Diana and protect the monarchy's image. Today we're counting down 20 secrets that the royal family tried to bury about Princess Diana's divorce. These are the truths that show just how much Princess Diana was up against, from the moment her marriage began unraveling to the lengths the palace went to keep her silent. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. Number 1. The true state of the marriage from the beginning. From the very start, King Charles and Princess Diana's marriage was more of a performance than a partnership. Behind the glamour of the wedding and the iconic dress, there was a deep sense of incompatibility. Princess Diana herself admitted that she knew, even before walking down the aisle, that King Charles wasn't entirely devoted to her. It turns out that King Charles had already been in love with another woman, Camilla Parker Bowles. The royal family, knowing the public wouldn't accept a divorce right after the wedding of the century, pressured them to continue. This wasn't just a fairy tale gone wrong. It was a tragic mismatch where both parties felt trapped. Princess Diana was young, just 20 when she married King Charles, and she didn't have a real understanding of the royal life she was walking into. King Charles, for his part, seemed to be fulfilling a royal duty, rather than truly committing himself to his young bride. The early years of their marriage, despite smiles for the cameras, were full of signs that things were already going off the rails. Number 2. Camilla's continued presence. One of the most painful aspects of Princess Diana and King Charles' marriage was the persistent presence of Camilla Parker Bowles. Princess Diana famously described their relationship as having 3 people in this marriage, and she wasn't exaggerating. The royal family made efforts to keep Camilla's role hidden from the public eye. But Princess Diana was well aware of her husband's ongoing relationship with Camilla. It became increasingly clear that King Charles never truly let go of his feelings for Camilla, and Princess Diana had to endure this knowledge in silence for years. Royal biographers have suggested that Princess Diana found gifts King Charles bought for Camilla, like jewelry, and overheard their private phone calls. Despite her attempts to win King Charles' affection, Princess Diana felt she was always competing with someone else, a competition that the royal family worked hard to suppress from public knowledge, hoping to maintain their perfect image. Number 3. Princess Diana's struggles with mental health. Princess Diana's battle with mental health issues, including bulimia and depression, was another aspect the royal family wanted to keep hidden. It wasn't just that she felt lonely in her marriage. She was also dealing with the pressure of being in the spotlight constantly, with every detail of her life scrutinized by the media. This took a toll on her. The royal family, instead of offering the emotional support she desperately needed, chose to sweep it all under the rug. They saw her struggles as an inconvenience, something that could potentially harm the monarchy's reputation. Even behind closed doors, Princess Diana's vulnerability wasn't embraced, but treated as a problem to be managed. Princess Diana was candid about her struggles in later interviews, opening up about the way she felt isolated and neglected during her time as a royal. But back then, these struggles were something the palace worked tirelessly to keep away from the headlines. Number 4. Affairs on both sides. It's no secret that both King Charles and Princess Diana had affairs. For Princess Diana, these were relationships that seemed to fill the emotional void that her marriage had left. James Hewitt is perhaps the most famous of these, but there were others as well. The royal family, however, was adamant about not letting these affairs come to light, as they were desperate to maintain the image of the monarchy. Meanwhile, King Charles' affair with Camilla was less about rebellion and more about seeking comfort in someone he deeply cared about. These affairs weren't just scandals. They were signs of just how far gone the marriage had become. Both parties were unhappy, and rather than addressing their issues openly, they sought solace elsewhere. The royal family, of course, worked hard to make sure these affairs stayed in the shadows as much as possible, not because they didn't know about them, but because admitting such a breakdown in their idealized marriage would be a blow to their public persona. Number 5. The role of the Queen in the divorce. For years, Princess Diana and King Charles remained in a deeply unhappy marriage, one that was more about duty than love. It was the Queen herself who ultimately stepped in and pushed for the divorce after their separation became public. By the mid-1990s, it was clear that there was no way the couple could reconcile, and the public drama was beginning to tarnish the royal family's image. The Queen wrote letters to both Princess Diana and King Charles, urging them to divorce for the sake of their well-being and the future of the monarchy. This was a significant move, as it highlighted just how untenable things had become. However, the Queen's involvement in pushing for the divorce was something kept very quiet at the time. The royal family wanted to present a unified front, and the idea that the Queen herself was advocating for her son's marriage to end was something they feared would reflect badly on the institution. Number 6. The financial settlement. The financial settlement that Princess Diana received from the divorce was another topic that was kept tightly under wraps. There were long negotiations about what Princess Diana would be entitled to. After all, she was the mother of the future king and had been a prominent public figure for over a decade. In the end, she reportedly received a lump sum of around £17 million, as well as an annual allowance to cover her staff and living expenses. However, the royal family made sure to keep the exact details of these negotiations hidden. Money was a sensitive topic, and they didn't want the public knowing how much it cost to effectively pay Princess Diana to step out of the royal spotlight. Along with the financial settlement, there was the question of Princess Diana's title. She lost her Royal Highness status after the divorce, something she found deeply painful. But again, the royal family wanted to downplay this to avoid any sympathy for Princess Diana's loss of royal privilege. Number 7. Restricted access to her sons. One of the most painful parts of Princess Diana's divorce was how it affected her relationship with her sons, William and Harry. Though Princess Diana remained deeply devoted to her children, the royal family kept a firm grip on their upbringing. After the divorce, Princess Diana's access to William and Harry was somewhat restricted. The boys had their royal duties and education to focus on, and the palace tried to ensure that their lives were kept as normal as possible. Normal, at least by royal standards. This meant that Princess Diana often found herself fighting to spend as much time with her children as she wanted. The royal family wanted the princes to grow up within the structure of the monarchy, and Princess Diana's more relaxed, emotionally open approach was sometimes seen as a threat to that. Despite her best efforts, there were times when the palace's control meant she couldn't see her boys as freely as she wished. A heartbreaking reality that was largely kept from public knowledge. Number 8. The divorce's emotional toll on Princess Diana. The emotional toll of the divorce on Princess Diana was immense. She was a woman who had entered into the royal family as a shy young bride, hoping to find love. And instead she found herself isolated and heartbroken. The media painted her as strong, almost untouchable, but behind the scenes, the divorce took everything out of her. She struggled deeply with the rejection, the loss of her royal status, and the realization that she was no longer part of the family she'd committed herself to. The royal family worked hard to keep her vulnerability hidden, always wanting to show a composed and controlled version of Princess Diana. But friends of Princess Diana, like her former butler Paul Burrell, have since revealed how much she struggled during those years. Her tears, her loneliness, her fears for the future. It was a side of Princess Diana that the palace wanted to remain invisible, but it was a very real part of her journey. Number 9. Princess Diana's interview with Martin Bashir. Princess Diana's infamous Panorama interview with Martin Bashir in 1995 was the turning point. She spoke openly about her struggles, her husband's affair, and her own fears. This was a major blow to the royal family, who had worked tirelessly to keep these issues private. In the interview, Princess Diana famously said, "There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded," a line that resonated with the public and cemented her as a symbol of resilience. The royal family saw this interview as a betrayal. It was the moment Princess Diana broke from their control and chose to speak her truth. In the aftermath, the family moved quickly to distance themselves from her, accelerating the divorce process to put an end to the growing media storm. The interview revealed the cracks in the facade that the palace had worked so hard to maintain, and it was one of the key moments that led the Queen to finally intervene and push for a formal end to the marriage. Number 10. Prince Philip's support for Princess Diana. Interestingly, there was one senior royal who appeared to support Princess Diana more than anyone might expect: Prince Philip. Letters between Prince Philip and Princess Diana revealed that he sympathized with her plight and tried to offer her guidance. Philip, who had himself struggled with fitting into the royal mold as a consort to the Queen, seemed to understand Princess Diana's feelings of alienation. He expressed his disappointment in his son, King Charles' behavior and reassured Princess Diana that she was a valued member of the family. However, the royal family did everything they could to keep these letters private. They didn't fit with the narrative of Princess Diana as the black sheep, or with the picture of a monarchy fully united against her. The fact that Princess Diana had an ally, especially one as prominent as Prince Philip, was something the palace preferred the public not to know, because it complicated the clean break they were trying to present. Number 11. Media manipulation against Princess Diana. The media's portrayal of Princess Diana during the years leading up to and after her divorce was not entirely organic. The royal family, keen to protect their own interests, worked behind the scenes to shape the narrative. Stories that painted Princess Diana as unstable or attention-seeking were often fed to the press, helping to sway public opinion against her. This manipulation wasn't accidental. It was a deliberate attempt to reduce her influence. While Princess Diana was adored by the public, the palace was concerned about her growing power and how her every move made headlines. They used media allies to strategically leak information that would make her appear unpredictable, in contrast to the composed royal image they wanted to preserve. These tactics created a tug-of-war, where Princess Diana sought to control her own story, while the royal family was busy trying to write her out of it in a way that suited their needs. Number 12. Princess Diana's fear of being watched. Another well-kept secret was Princess Diana's fear of being constantly monitored. As her marriage disintegrated, Princess Diana became increasingly paranoid that the palace was spying on her. She feared her phones were tapped and that her every move was being tracked. While at first her fears might have been dismissed as paranoia, it later emerged that there could have been truth behind these suspicions. Princess Diana confided in close friends that she felt she couldn't trust the people around her, not even her staff, as she believed some were reporting back to the palace. This sense of being watched added to her isolation and desperation. The royal family, of course, never acknowledged any such surveillance, but Princess Diana's fears were real enough that she even sought outside help to debug her home and car. The possibility that she was right about being watched only adds to the tragic nature of her story, showing just how alone she felt. Number 13. Divorce timing manipulation. The royal family's nothing if not strategic, and even the timing of Princess Diana and King Charles' divorce was manipulated for maximum benefit. The decision to end the marriage wasn't simply a matter of when things reached a breaking point. It was about optics, public sentiment, and royal events. The divorce was delayed for months to avoid overshadowing key royal engagements and to allow for a smoother transition. The royal family didn't want the scandal of a high-profile divorce to tarnish important celebrations or public appearances. Princess Diana, meanwhile, had to endure the waiting game, as her life remained in limbo until the timing was deemed appropriate. The need to protect the monarchy's reputation was always put ahead of Princess Diana's well-being, further highlighting how the royal family's priorities were focused on the institution rather than the individuals within it. Number 14. Princess Diana's restricted public role. After the divorce, Princess Diana found that her public role was significantly restricted by the royal family. No longer a working royal, she was effectively sidelined from many official engagements. Princess Diana had always been passionate about her charitable work, and she used her platform to bring attention to important causes, whether it was AIDS awareness or advocating for the victims of landmines. However, the royal family wanted to minimize her presence, worried that her influence would overshadow the institution itself. Princess Diana's reduced role was heartbreaking for her, because she genuinely cared about using her position for good. The palace tried to control which charities she could support and when she could appear publicly, all in an effort to contain her popularity. Despite these limitations, Princess Diana still managed to make an enormous impact, using her compassion and empathy to connect with people in a way no royal had done before. But her reduced role reflected the firm desire of the royal family to keep her influence in check. Number 15. King Charles attempts to rewrite the narrative. During and after the divorce, King Charles worked hard to reshape the narrative around his failed marriage to Princess Diana. He wanted the public to see him as the misunderstood one, trapped in a marriage that was doomed from the beginning. King Charles participated in an authorized biography by Jonathan Dimbleby, in which he admitted to his affair with Camilla but framed it as a result of a loveless marriage. The royal family supported King Charles in this effort, believing it would help restore his reputation and position as the future king. The narrative that King Charles was a victim, that he'd only sought solace in Camilla after trying his best with Princess Diana, was something the royal family wanted the public to believe. But for many, these attempts to shift the blame only further damaged King Charles' reputation, as Princess Diana's authenticity continued to resonate more with the public. This effort to rewrite history was part of the broader attempt by the royal family to control the fallout from the very public breakdown of a high-profile marriage. Number 16. Involvement of government figures. The royal family's influence extends far beyond palace walls, and during Princess Diana and King Charles' divorce, they allegedly involved government figures to help manage the situation discreetly. The goal was to prevent the divorce from turning into an even bigger media circus than it already was. High-ranking officials were reportedly brought in to advise on the legal and logistical aspects of the separation, ensuring that the monarchy's interests were protected at every turn. These behind-the-scenes maneuvers were never meant to be public knowledge, as they highlighted just how intertwined the monarchy was with the British establishment. The involvement of government officials underscores the lengths to which the royal family would go to control the outcome of the divorce, keeping it from spiraling out of their control. It was a calculated effort to maintain the stability of the monarchy at all costs. Number 17. Attempts to control Princess Diana's image post-divorce. After the divorce, the royal family attempted to control Princess Diana's image and influence, even though she was no longer officially part of the institution. They were keen to avoid any situation where she might be seen as a rival to the monarchy, or worse, someone who could overshadow them. This was particularly true when Princess Diana made bold moves, like working with international charities that brought her into the global spotlight. The palace used subtle means to ensure she remained sidelined, sometimes through press briefings that cast doubt on her intentions, and other times by blocking access to certain events. The aim was to ensure Princess Diana couldn't leverage her public appeal to become a figure independent of the royal family. Even though she was no longer bound by royal protocol, the influence of the institution still loomed over her, and efforts to contain her impact were relentless. These actions underscored just how powerful her image was, even without the backing of royal titles. Number 18. The royal family's fear of Princess Diana's popularity. The royal family's fear of Princess Diana's enduring popularity after her separation from King Charles cannot be understated. While King Charles struggled to rebuild his image, Princess Diana remained untarnished in the eyes of the public. She was the people's princess, and her natural connection with everyday people only grew stronger after her divorce. This presented a problem for the royal family. They were supposed to be the embodiment of stability and leadership, yet Princess Diana's unfiltered honesty and compassion made her more relatable than any of them. The palace was concerned that Princess Diana's popularity could outshine not only King Charles, but also the future of the monarchy itself. They feared that Princess Diana, with her newfound freedom, could become a focal point for change, or even dissent against the rigid institution. The more she embraced her independence, the more she highlighted the outdated nature of the monarchy, something the palace was keenly aware of and worked hard to mitigate. Number 19. Restricted travel and security concerns. After her divorce, Princess Diana's freedom to travel was also restricted by concerns from the royal family. They worried about how her movements, especially with William and Harry, could affect the family's image. Princess Diana wanted to take her boys on vacations abroad, often choosing locations far from the British press. However, the royal family and their security advisors insisted on strict control over her travel plans, citing safety concerns. The truth was that there was also a desire to control where she went and who she was seen with. Princess Diana's increasing involvement with influential people, including her romantic relationships, posed a problem for the royal family, who feared how the optics might reflect on them. Princess Diana felt these restrictions deeply, as she wanted her children to experience a life beyond the confines of royal duties and traditions. The battle over her ability to travel freely was yet another way the royal family attempted to keep her under their control, even after she was no longer officially part of them. Number 20. Princess Diana's legacy battle with the royal family. Perhaps one of the most significant aspects the royal family tried to keep hidden was the struggle over Princess Diana's legacy. After her untimely death, the royal family made concerted efforts to shape how she would be remembered. They emphasized her role as the mother of the future king and as a troubled woman who struggled within the constraints of royal life, rather than focusing on her humanitarian achievements or her courage in speaking out. The royal family's approach was to integrate Princess Diana's memory into the narrative of the monarchy, rather than allowing her to be seen as an independent force. Memorial plans were carefully managed to ensure they aligned with royal values, and her public memorial service had a distinctly controlled tone. However, Princess Diana's legacy was something beyond their reach. Her warmth, her advocacy, and her genuine compassion made her a symbol that the royal family could never fully control. The people's memory of Princess Diana outshined any attempt by the palace to rewrite her story, proving that her influence went far beyond the walls of the institution she'd once been a part of. The story of Princess Diana is one that continues to captivate millions, and it's easy to see why. It's a tale of resilience, heartbreak, and courage in the face of adversity. But what do you think? Which of these secrets surprised you the most? Or do you think there's even more to the story that hasn't been uncovered yet? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more video content like this. And make sure to hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our future uploads. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye!